Well, I mean, we are expecting less demand growth, or like a sluggish demand growth in 2023, just 1% growth, like global demand, and that like the war impacted this like severely because, especially because the high energy prices that we are having now, and especially during 2022. So the demand growth is lower than we would have had without the war. But on the other hand, there is some support for energy demand given the China faster and sooner reopening. So there is like two different like opposite forces in play.
من وجهة نظرك من هو الرابح الأكبر من الأزمة الأوكرانية؟ وهنا أسأل في إطار قطاع الطاقة بطبيعة الحال، حيث أن العديد من المعطيات تشير أن الولايات المتحدة هي بالفعل أكبر الرابحين.
Well, it's hard to talk about winners in the context of a war, but if we are focused solely on energy, the U.S. has been favored because of like, well, any energy producer which is not Russia has been favored because of the higher prices. So the exports are more valuable at the moment. But clearly, Europe moving away from Russian fossil fuels and having like to rush to find other suppliers, they have seen in the US like a good partner, and the US have seen like a good customers in European countries. So US exports are increasing significantly because they are filling the gap that left by Russia.
ما هي آثار الحرب الأوكرانية ليس فقط على ملف أمن الطاقة كأولوية لدى صانع القرار، بل آثارها على مفهوم أمن الطاقة بحد ذاته؟
Well, the war in Ukraine and especially the cut of Russian fossil fuel supplies towards Europe has put the spotlight on energy security again. So there has been a refocus from energy policy from the energy transition towards energy security during 2022, and we saw many countries in like Germany or other countries in the European Union investing heavily on fossil fuels infrastructure, especially on LNG import capacity, because of the energy security issue. So energy security is now under the spotlight on everyone in the world, every policy maker, because it has put like the spotlight that energy security is nothing that is granted. So we are seeing like a renewed effort on energy security. That doesn't mean that countries are not thinking on the energy transition, and we believe that in fact the current situation will accelerate the energy transition in the medium and long term, and especially because many governments are now seeing renewables not only as a way to have a better environment, but also as a way to enforce energy security because they are domestically produced, domestically sourced. You don't need to import sun or wind.
هل عودة الغاز الروسي إلى الاتحاد الأوروبي أمر غير وارد بتاتا مستقبلا؟
Well, the infrastructure is there, and Russia will continue being like an important gas producer in the long term, despite production will decline, and the infrastructure is there. And it is not our core forecast, but if we think about like a regime change in Russia and European countries trying to support this new regime, of course we could see the resume export from Russia to the European Union resuming, because the pipelines are absolutely there. But we don't expect that to happen in the short or the medium term.
برأيكم ما هو حجم الاستثمار المطلوب عالمياً في النفط والغاز بهدف موازنة العرض والطلب مستقبلاً؟
Well, there's a lot of investment needed. That would be the short answer. And we expect more investment, of course, in renewables, especially from European countries, but also we expect more investment in fossil fuel production. And this is not only because there is a need to balance demand and supply, but also because at these prices are elevated at the moment, even though they have declined from 2022 hikes, they remain elevated, and higher prices are always push for more investment in fossil fuels. We expect the oil and gas market to continue short or to continue very, 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 very tight at least until 2025, and that will of course support investment in fossil fuel production.
ما هي تأثيرات الأزمة الأوكرانية على العلاقات الجيوسياسية بين الأقطاب العالمية، وما هي ذيول ذلك على قطاع الطاقة؟
We do see like the global market kind of like splitting in two camps. One are countries that will continue receiving Russian imports, like will continue importing from Russia, or will even increase the imports from Russia. This is mainly China and India, because they will get very cheap fossil fuel from them. And then other countries that are moving away from Russia and will focus more on the US as the global supplier, and that's mainly like Europe. I wouldn't call it like a rivalry between these two camps. Of course, there is a conflict between Russia and the European Union and the US. I wouldn't call like a rivalry between Europe and China, but they will just like, I mean, China will do what it is better for the finances and will try to get cheap fossil fuel from Russia, while Europe will have to decarbonize their economy quite fast. They like try to like move away from fossil fuels in general and rely more in the US as their energy supplier.
في الختام، ما هي إذن الدروس المستقاة من الحرب في أوكرانيا وذيولها بعد عام من اندلاعها فيما يخص سياسات الطاقة عموما؟
Like a key lesson that we believe like governments should learn, and I think they have learned maybe in Europe in a hard way. It is like you cannot rely on one supplier for most of your fossil fuel imports, and this is very important because it's a lesson that China is also learning and paying a lot of attention. You see that China, of course, is trying to get more gas and oil from Russia, but on the other hand, China is also trying to diversify their supplies, like making more investment in Central Asia. There is like a new pipeline announced with Turkmenistan, and so we believe like this will make governments be more aware of like the risk of relying too much in one energy supplier. They will. Another lesson will be to try to produce more domestically. And I'm not talking about oil and gas only. I'm talking about like more renewables. So we'll see now renewables being considered as a way to enhance energy security. And the third lesson is the importance of energy efficiency. Many European countries, they haven't been very ambitious on energy efficiency and like in the last 10 years, and now we are seeing the consequences of like when you need to reduce consumption because you don't have the supply or because prices are very expensive, and they are facing some struggles on that.